Hey everyone, Rookie here obviously. So I have some pretty fun and hot topics to discuss today, so maybe a longer vid than normal. That's just a guess, but we'll see how it goes. So first thing I'm going to do is I want to talk about our war chats and war dodging more specifically. And I'd like to comment a bit about it, then segue into something in the community that we can do to perhaps change the mentality of teams and the lower to mid divisions, and even the ones in the top a little. So what's war dodging? Well, pretty much it's when teams look for a match, could definitely find a match, but decide not to play because they don't want to play against particular teams. And I get this honestly. A particular team could be assholes to you, and that'd be reason enough to not want to play versus them, especially if it's a rival and you want like your best team whenever you play them. I mean, I've had rivalries in the past, not as much heated stuff anymore, but I get it. So we've honestly gone beyond this point though. So like back about 18 months ago, our community was much smaller. We were still playing MKU, and there's like 20 main teams. It made finding matches much more difficult, and it felt at times that you only had the same few options to play against. And if you feel like your only opponents are people who are going to curb stomp you every time, like I guess it'd be demotivating to play. But that's not really the case anymore. So there's a lot more variety since Deluxe. But this also means that people are allowed to, I guess, nitpick a little bit more on finding like specific matches. And though I mean it's still not easy to find wars. Like it's nothing like online matchmaking, but it's easier to be a little more nitpicky. So I noticed a lot of people, like especially recently, are now searching for like 6v6, 5v5, d8, d10 only, for example. Or they search, ask a team for a match, then like in the DMs they're like, what division are you? And if it's something like that's too high or even too low, there's like, okay, yeah, we don't want to play you. And it kind of sucks if you're on the other end, like you've been looking for a while, and it happens frequently, I'll say that. So first things first, I completely understand why these players search for these matches. The game is more fun when you win, obviously, or when matches are close. Like nobody likes getting completely destroyed. I get it. I'm the leader of a Division 1 team now, and I'll say straight up that playing versus other high division teams are honestly more fun than playing something that's just one-sided in our favor. At the same time, though, while I certainly prefer it, I don't understand why everyone is suddenly wanting to pass up playing like just different clans. Like we have such a wide variety, but it seems that still generally the same teams play each other in every scrimmage. So I believe that while the community is still in a pretty healthy state, that we have some unhealthy mentalities towards certain things. I think the straight up refusal to take on a challenge is one of them, honestly. So trust me on this one, when a top team goes into a war chat to search, they are not hoping to find some team that they can completely dismantle, like just destroy their confidence. No, that's not the case at all. They're looking to play the game, and preferably a competitive one if they can like find a team around their skill level. So these clans are hoping to find a team who can give them a decent challenge, but generally they'll still play a lower level team if it means just being able to play to begin with. Now, to encourage lower division teams to toughen up and take on a challenge may sound like it's me just salty that a lot of teams ignore my team personally and they won't play us, but I really do understand the other point of view because I was once a bottom division player myself. So like for the people searching for only like Division 6 to Division 10 only wars, like HG wouldn't be able to play you guys when we were in our first season of World Clan League because we were even lower than D10. We were Division 12. I was a D12 player. Now, I was a good D12 player, but I was still a D12 player. It was fun. I missed those days a lot, honestly, but obviously I still prefer like playing for like championships and stuff in these days. a lot of stuff has happened in the 8 years since then, but back when I was in Division 12, things were really, really different. The community was huge, a little bit larger than it is now, and it shrank ever since last year, where it increased again. So only just recently we've been getting close to numbers we once had, and I think a lot of that probably has to do with the Switch and Deluxe being an easy to pick up game. But back then, searching for wars was obviously different than now. Those were like back in the days where like my teams would frequently play 3v3 and 4v4. And we preferred playing opponents around our skill level, of course, and I'll admit it was honestly like a little bit of a guilty pleasure to find a team that was like worse than us that we could just completely annihilate sometimes, score big points against them. Like, that's always fun, but we didn't fear playing top teams back then. We didn't play them that much because I don't think they liked playing us that much, but like it was still a match. Like, it was good, like the variety. Like, we knew we were gonna lose, but it was kind of like an opportunity, getting to race with the big boys, the players that everyone knew about. And one thing, I mean, looking back, one thing that was kind of stupid about MKW was like that many players just saw the top players as like legendary people, and it's kind of cringy looking back. But that's just how it was. And like, I saw some old veteran return to MKB at one point a few years ago, and like he started reminiscing about the old days and all the famous MKW players of the past. And it was honestly quite hilarious reading the context in present day, but it was normal back when he played. But regardless, those wars versus D1 clans, we knew we were going to lose going in, but maybe they dropped 550 to 600 points, which was way harder back on MKW, but it was still possible. But it was still an opportunity to get to play like teams that were like at the top. We never beat All-Stars or Infected with Skill, at least on MKW, but I have memories playing against them. There was one time back when we were like Division 8. I MVP'd a match versus All-Stars. We ended up losing by 1. It was a heartbreaker, but it was memorable. It was awesome at the same time, I'd say. The win was right there. It would have been hilarious to say, yeah, we beat All-Stars once, had it happened. And chances are, chances are Division 1 teams won't be using like their like MKU lineups and scrimmages, so like they aren't as hard to beat. So like maybe you can find them on an off day. I think we certainly found All-Stars on an off day that time. I know HD has a lot of players who aren't ready for Division 1 right now, but we still like to play with those players in friendly matches. And I think it was the same way back then, obviously. We also played some match versus Infected with Skill in MKW, and we got completely blasted. But there's one GP where we lost by only 14 on, and like they got like 6th, 8th, 9th, 10th overall. And like Cool Guy got like a 57-point GP, and we ended up making a kind of hilarious team banner out of it, over exaggerating how great we are. It was just a meme, but we completely whited out Cool Guy from the picture, and it was honestly hilarious. But warring teams a little above our level or comfort zone is like extremely difficult, but like it's not an impossible transaction unless like you make it that way. Playing better teams, like any activity, like can help you get better and make it easier if you ever have to play them in leagues. It's kind of like lifting weights or solving math problems. Like, they're annoying and it's difficult at first, but like if you get in the rhythm, it makes it much more easier going forward when you do it again. Like, yeah, it's hard to start, but if you keep it at it, it becomes easier. You learn more, you gain muscle memory, you start learning what does and doesn't work, and you know, experience is a great helper. Not everything has to be about winning and losing either, like especially in friendly matches. You can set minor goals, try to keep it within 200, 100, see how high you can score maybe. Like, I remember we played a team called Alternative Elite Team. They were like Season 3 champs of WCL. They played us once in 2011. We got completely decimated, but my friend Luke got a 35-point GP, and he was like super stoked about it. He's like, oh dude, I'm so good and stuff. And like, he's been on a WL championship roster now, I'm pretty sure, but like back then it was a huge deal to him. So, you know, smaller goals are good to keep. The thing is, the way things are right now, it feels like a lot of the community doesn't want to get out of their comfort zone like at all. So like, this kind of is bringing me into the next main part of this video, and really the thing I really want to hit home. So now, it's kind of silly to say that we have a true competitive scene right now if nobody is challenging themselves. Like, competitive players aim to improve themselves because they want to get better results, and they want to get by the people ahead of them in the rankings, or the ranks. Like now, problems with getting out of your comfort zone isn't just limited to a war chat, but it's one example. Like the way we have our entire tournament set up, like promotes us to stay in our comfort zone right now, and how we can make our main tournament, like honestly, I feel like we need to discuss how we can make our main tournament format potentially better for like a quote-unquote competitive environment. So you see, we have divisional formats as our main tournament, and you know, hypothetically this works pretty well. Like it's worked for many years now. I don't think we're using them properly. I will admit that like it's better for us in MKU right now than maybe WL. Like the WCL format was made as a promotion and demotion system, where you try to climb to the top, but you know, like people aren't really trying to climb to the top anymore. People are trying to get placed in the lower divisions to try to snag a free .png banner. This happens a lot in WL, but like it's even worse there because they have a ton of like one season teams who just dip. They just like want to play with new people every season. There's like no clan stability anymore, it seems, and it's not really a promotion demotion system as much as it is just like a seeding thread that like becomes 15 pages every season because it's a bunch of new teams and new people playing together, and like it's always a mess. We still have the same basic format, but like how much it has changed since like the original WCL is like crazy, honestly, because at this point it just seems like people are trying to rig it to get free banners, and honestly that's a huge fucking problem. Look, I was excited about winning my first division banner also, like everyone is, but you really have to start questioning the meaning of a division banner when it's something that's like just expected. Like the road like to get it like wasn't hard, it was just something you expected. Like you'll probably be thinking like, oh, we probably should have been one division higher, but you won't. But you want a shot at that PNG, and you know it may not feel right now. Let me tell you what a Division 6 title is worth if we're talking about like what a normal competitive community would be. So like taking an arbitrary division number 6, that would be considered to be about 28th to 31st place in brute honesty. So let's use the fighting game community as an example really quickly. For low and mid-level players, the goal may not be winning, like, or getting first, because like it's really hard for like mid or low, like practically impossible for mid or low level players to win tournaments. The goal is generally to place as well in tournaments as possible, not to place first within a specific subset of participants. And I think our current setup emphasizes winning banners way too much, and perhaps if we had different overarching motives, maybe a little bit of the underselling of talent before seasons would disappear a bit, because like people are like, oh man, we aren't that good and stuff. What if still using the WCL format we had results come out that pit the entire league against each other, where it generally rewards people for being in higher divisions? Well, I did just that, and I've made a Google sheet that you can check out in the description of this video. The sheet, or it's not a Google sheet, it's just an Excel file, but the sheet includes results from every MKU, PL, and WCL season ever, and a few extra results from miscellaneous events not using the WCL format. I did not include IL because 2 seasons have been lost in a void, and I'm a completionist. It doesn't feel right. Maybe if we recover them, I'd be willing to look into it. I didn't do WL either because they have playoffs every season, and that kind of makes the promotion/demotion system even more of a mess, as I mentioned earlier, and it'd be a bit confusing. And here's how the format goes. Scoring 0 points in the bottom division yields you 0 points. In the second to bottom division, scoring 0 points nets you 60% of the maximum points in the division below. So in current MKU format, scoring 0 in the second to bottom division would be 18 points, because 18 is 60% of 30. In WCL, where the max was 20, it'd be 12. This is repeated and makes a final placing where your ceiling in 4 or higher, the higher division that you play in, yet still some teams in divisions below who do well can outplace those who do really poorly in the ones above. I highly encourage all of you to check out these rankings for fun if you can open Excel files. I'll probably try to make it public in some other way later, but the goal of this is to motivate teams to want tougher competition to make their rank higher, and it doesn't guarantee you a higher spot if you ask for a division you blatantly can't compete in. but it also generally will help you to be in a higher division if you squeeze out a few wins. So like point ties go to the higher division also. 4 and 6 in a higher division scores ahead of 10 and 0 in the one below, for reference. Another potential benefit is that teams who are getting smacked will still have motivation to keep trying later in the season if it means that they can not get passed up by the teams in divisions below them who are having a really good season. So the point is, though, that teams will have motivation to want tougher competition, and that's the entire purpose of a competitive scene, to challenge yourself and not to try to scope out free wins. So my idea does not stop there, though, because realistically that won't turn everyone. Maybe give a few people extra motivation, but it's a beginning point. So the next thing I'm going to propose is creating clan power rankings for the community. So let's be real here, we like to rank ourselves. I've seen the French, Spanish, subjective / biased, kind of cringy tier list that are extremely questionable, honestly, depending on who makes them, but generally we know who we're better than and who we're worse than. So I think this would help motivation to get great results even more, because then people would have to prove it instead of just saying a subjective ranking. It'd be objective. Now, I know the subject of rankings is a bit controversial, like some people can't handle it, hurts people's feelings, but here's the deal. I want these rankings to be based on tournament results only, stuff like MKU, any side events, Amplify, MKL, SNL, etc. And having an actual listing of results for each MKU season would make these rankings able to be as close to as objective as possible. So my suggestion would be a top 25, because it consists of the upper half, and there'd be quite a lot of teams like on the bubble or in the middle wanting to fight to get a spot on the list. It's a little bit of prestige into the equation, so perhaps it would grow our other events if teams aren't satisfied with MKU results one season also. I'd recommend releasing a new power ranking triannually or biannually, and I'd get a council consisting of many people from different teams to discuss not team order, but tournament resume order. It's like you aren't comparing teams, but you're comparing the resumes. So it's more objective, less biased. Here's another thing, the more events that we have, the better for this, so this is why perhaps hosting tournaments on Saturday shouldn't be something we hold back on. I think UML is a pretty good start for having Saturday events. I may discuss the topic in another video since I'm running a bit out of time for now. I'm planning on doing a factory reset on my computer soon, so maybe a bit before the next video, but I want to release this one beforehand, just having a discussion. I think the power ranking idea would honestly be great, and I'd like to talk about it more and coming up into the future. Last comments, additionally, the Deluxe Lounge is back and active, and probably for at least a month or so. I'll put the link in the description if anyone wants to hop in and play some games there. And that's all the time I have today, so thank you for watching as always. Like, subscribe if you want. Sorry this one came out a little bit long, but just something I really wanted to rant and talk about, I suppose. So thanks for watching, and have a good one.